My name is Joshua Poole. I am studying Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, which is a double degree at QUT.
Okay, I'm Tilaksan I'm studying Electrical Engineering at Queensland University of Technology. Electrical Engineering is my major and my minor is Robotics. And currently I'm doing my capstone project with Telstra on 5G network and the rover, as you can see.
So the project involves working on configuring a rover device that is capable of connecting to a 5G network and streaming the video feed from this rover to a web server.
We're trying to do this by two methods. One, to stream the video using the DSLR camera that's attached, and the second option is to control the rover from anywhere in the world.
I think one of the biggest challenges was the device itself. The 5G IC rover is a very unique concept and design, and so as such there's not really much documentation.
We didn't have any manual for this robot, so it was up to us to find the functionality of all the electronic components there. It took us some time because these were built by professional engineers, so we have to reverse engineer to find the capabilities of each equipment attached, and it took us some time.
So I guess one of the biggest challenges was we weren't able to come down to Telstra facilities due to just the restrictions in place. Also, when the lockdown was in like the heavy stages, it wasn't really, travel wasn't really necessarily promoted. As such, we couldn't work on the device together. So that proved to be a difficulty. And I guess to resolve that, we took a few of the different onboard computers, specifically the Raspberry Pi, and we were able to figure out a way to, I guess, remotely access that. And so I could, from my own home, remotely access the rover and this computer and work on the project through Thelac's help on the other end. And so that proved to be, I guess, a pretty good solution to, which allowed us to work on the project remotely. So
after that, we had quite a lot of problem with the Jetson board due to lack of forum support, and Jetson board is considered to be the powerful board for image processing and stuff, but due to lack of forum support, it was hard for us to debug any errors that we had, so it took us longer than expected. But we are on track with the project. The problems that we had in terms of the electronics component that is controlling the rover, there's a pixel controller attached to it, but we were trying to control the pixel controller, using the Raspberry Pi or the Jetson board, but we did not get the latency as we expected. So we were getting around 5-second delay. So every time we press the forward command, it takes like 5 seconds for the rover to react to that command. So it took us some time to research and find a solution. There were a couple of solutions, so we were doing trial and errors on each solution. The final solution we used is to mimic the signal from the transmitter and put it on a microcontroller and send that signal using the microcontroller directly to the pixel. That way we don't need to take out the pixel, but we have full access to it. So at the moment the rover is, I would say, around 100 millisecond latency with rover control. It's almost in real time, you can't even notice it, so yeah.
Because we couldn't come down here to work on the rover, they were very accommodating and allowing us to take the rover to one of our residences. And so as a result, we were able to sort of work from home using the actual device, which is really amazing considering the amount of trust in allowing us to use a device that is quite expensive. So that's something that I really do appreciate, and I'm thankful for Telstra for accommodating, and I think QUT also did a good job in providing us with information and things to, I guess, look out for while working on the project. And I think we're pretty lucky to be both being assigned to this specific project because our strengths, or I guess the project required us to use our strengths. Phil Laskin with the robotics, and my side was more like the web server side of things. So I handled more of the video transmission to the different web servers and building and configuring the different web servers. So I developed a cloud implementation, a server that could run on the local network implementation, and also I think the most difficult part of the project for me was the cloud server. And this is because the cloud server requires having the rover on one certain network and then video stream or transmitting the video from that server to a remote location, which was on the other side of the world. And so like the distance between the client side or the rover side to the server side was very large, and so developing a latency minimalized solution in those considering those constraints was quite difficult. I think what really helped resolve this component was just extensive research. I spent lots of time researching different cloud implementations. I decided to use AWS. The reasoning behind this is because it allowed me to be able to access the server or the cloud server remotely in the way they want to do so, which other implementations did not sort of allow. And just reading up on the documentation from AWS, from Amazon, and different tutorials, gradually I was able to figure out sort of a vision of how to achieve the final result. It took quite a while, it took a few weeks to sort of work through this sort of process, but eventually I was able to come up with a pretty feasible solution. So on the rover we have a bit of Python code running, which is responsible for extracting the video feed from the camera and then transmitting that to the destination address or IP address, which was the cloud server. On the cloud server you have also code, which is responsible for taking that video and then performing video processing techniques to it. For example, applying facial recognition or cutting edge detection, or just displaying the video itself on the web page. And I guess to run the cloud server, or to get it to actually run and display a video, I had to use a Python web framework called Flask, which worked pretty well in displaying the video feed, in my opinion.
I really like this project, so I really wanted to finish it before I graduate. Yep. When I started this project, I didn't have a clue on where to start, and I was kind of afraid to make any changes to the components here because it's Telstra's, and if I make any mistake it's gonna cost them. So I was kind of nervous, but then since I started researching more on the things, I started to get confident on how things works, and so I really enjoyed working at the 5G IC because of the people around there is very chill and like they're nice, and that's what I expect from a place as well, because if you are given a task, there's no they didn't put a lot of pressure, but they were like checking us if we are up to date with the things. But I think that's helped us a lot, because putting like constant stress on a person, like I don't think it motivates them to do things. So in that sense, I was really happy with the people around, and they were very friendly as well. As I said, I really enjoyed working on this project. I think I learned a lot from this project, like especially on how to tackle problems that you have never experienced before and how to search outside uni and stuff. I think at the moment we have finalized everything, so we got the video stream working and we are able to control the rover using Xbox controller from anywhere in the world. And so I think we have achieved the goal that was set for us. So I'm really happy with that. I guess we have done the foundation for the future students so they can continue the work from here. But I'd just like to say that kind of missing the people that I worked with here, my partner and the people around 5G IC Center. It's been a year working with them, so it'll be hard just moving on to different place. But I guess that's how life works. But yeah, I'll be happy I'm applying for other graduates programs, and I also applied to Telstra. Let's see how that goes. Whatever company I get, I think Telstra taught me a good experience to tackle any problems that I have.
I definitely have increased in my knowledge and skills in relating to project management and relating to communication especially, because that's something you can always improve, I feel. And so just having an extra opportunity or a year's length of time to sort of work with a new company in an unfamiliar environment as per se was a great learning opportunity for me. I guess the initial stages it was a bit like confronting because it was a sort of a new environment, but I guess a quote that I really like is there's no comfort in the growth zone and there's no growth in the comfort zone. So benefit is definitely work environment at the 5G IC. Just the facility itself, all the really cool gadgets and things there. It was really amazing to work in this environment. It was very relaxing and it felt quite unique compared to some of the other places where I worked at, which I really sort of enjoyed. I also really enjoyed working with the 5G IC team. I found that each individual was very capable, and it was really easy to approach them and ask for assistance in certain circumstances. There's probably a few things I would definitely want to have done better. I think one of them was, so we chose to use for video transmission TCP/IP, which is one of the internet protocol transmissions for data. And while that's a pretty good and standard method to use, another alternative, which is known as UDP, is better. And so that might have helped improve or reduce the latency a bit better and make the project more efficient. For TCP/IP, I believe, well, Theo can check this for me. You have to, when you establish, you've got to establish a connection first, right? And that takes time. And then after the connection's established and after approval has been given, as per se, the data is transmitted. But with UDP, it just has a destination, it just sends straight through without any verification. So it's less time to transmit data that way. I guess there's pros and cons, but with latency as a primary sort of focus, UDP is better because it takes less time to process. I'd like to thank in particular the 5G IC Centre for their accommodation and their assistance in helping me work on this project. I learnt so many different things which I believe will assist me and the workforce in the future. Thank you.